What's going on? It's day one. It's day one. We got plenty to talk about. Let's go. We had the squad hit the press conference. We had that. We actually just had some news drop right before we were getting ready to get on. So I guess we'll start with that, and then we'll get into everything else and the fun stuff and the fun talking points of today. So unfortunately, news has just broke, like I said, minutes before hopping on. Emmanuel Mosley has been put on the reserve COVID list. Unfortunate development for Emmanuel Mosley, the 49ers. Clearly, we don't know any real details that have come from that. We're not really sure, if he has it, if it was just a positive test. We don't know if he's vaccinated. We don't know much of the details. All we really know is what the circumstance is, what we're up against. Emmanuel Mosley, starting cornerback for the San Francisco 49ers, looks like he will be starting camp on the reserve COVID list. So what that means for I guess fans, for the roster, I believe, and I'm not positive yet, I'm still trying to work through the rules, but I believe if you get put on the COVID list with a positive test, it's a 10-day period. Again, don't quote me, not 100% positive. It's my current understanding. If you are put on that list, that is what occurs. And the 49ers have also signed a player. The 49ers signed Anthony Zettel as well. That just came across the ticker. So more news. 49ers signed Anthony Zettel, defensive end. Emmanuel Mosley hits the COVID list. Oh, boy. And we haven't even gotten to the quotes yet. So all kinds of stuff to talk about. 49ers, like I said, just came across my notification. It appears they have signed a defensive end, Anthony Zettel. We'll get more into that, get more information, obviously, when we get off. Hopefully, with the Emmanuel Mosley situation, that it isn't anything too serious. Hopefully, it's, I don't know, a positive test. I have no idea. We just don't want it to be a situation that potentially could get the 49ers in some hot water in any regard. So nothing to talk about today, right, guys? Nothing to talk about. Trey Lance isn't signed. Jimmy G, quarterback 1. Nothing to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of some of the news that just hit real quick. Emmanuel Mosley, COVID-19 test positive, or is at least placed on the reserve list. That could be potentially up to 10 days sitting out. That opens the door for guys like Ambry Thomas, third-round pick out of Michigan, Diamador Lenore, Dante Johnson, any of the guys that are playing depth roles at the cornerback position is going to give them clearly a lot more run to start camp. So that piece of information just hit. On top of, we have signed a defensive end, Anthony Zettel. Now he's on the squad. I think that's the news that covers everything that we just got on here, or just as we were getting on here. So first, let's talk about Trey Lance contract. We'll work through the admin stuff, and we'll get the admin stuff out of the way, and then we'll get to the juicy parts. But so for right now, at least based on the information that was given per John Lynch, is that, quote, they are hopeful. And when he said they are hopeful, he went on to discuss how they have never had a holdout. And again, they're about 1 day away from having a holdout. So he was alluded to the fact that they've never had a holdout. To me, kind of feels like they're getting ready to gear up for a Trey Lance holdout. It's kind of what that feels like. By kind of saying that, the language he's using, the hopeful, the tone, the way he said it, they're expecting him to be here. I believe he is here, but I believe there might be some hang up with the contract. I believe it was John Middlecoff who retweeted a situation regarding Zach Wilson and his contract holdup and why those two could be related. And I thought that was a really good point by Middlecoff, was that, well, Zach Wilson, the quarterback that was selected right before Trey Lance, they are having ongoing conversations regarding structure and signing bonus and things of that nature. So typically how a lot of deals happen is they kind of look at the next guy like, well, what did he get? Or what did he do? So part of me kind of feels like Trey Lance's agent might be watching the Zach Wilson situation. Again, I don't know. I'm just trying to connect the dots. But it could be a situation where they want to see what his signing bonus looks like. They want to see what his guarantees look like and all that kind of stuff, and then base and complete Trey Lance's contract as a result. Again, I don't know. Pure shot in the dark. But it makes sense to me in regards to kind of waiting on someone else to get paid. It happens sometimes. It really does. So basically, the language with Trey is that it sounds like it's going to get done. It will get done. It will happen soon. Trey will get signed. He will be in camp. But he also, John Lynch went on to mention, man, it's really tough when you miss time, especially as a rookie, especially as a quarterback. So I think 49er fans really want to see Trey Lance show up to camp day one just to have that peace of mind, have the number 3 overall pick in the building, learning, doing what he needs to do to be acclimated to the offense. I think that's what they want. But again, they got to make sure the details are correct. The devil's in the details, and it sounds like they're caught up on something. Like I said, the Middlecoff retweet that he had could indicate that there might be a tie-in to Zach Wilson. Could be waiting to see what happens with his contract. I don't know. We'll see. But at the end of the day, Trey Lance will get paid. Trey Lance will be on the roster, all that good stuff. So it's not really anything to be concerned about. But if it goes into camp and it starts to drag on in camp, then our tone will change a little bit. Our tone will start to change. But typically with how things have gone up until this point, again, they still have until tomorrow to get this done before I believe it's officially considered a holdout. So we'll see. We still got about 24 hours, less than 24 hours to see what happens. So I think that'll get done. And then I'll actually just keep going down some of the press conference things that I've took away, some of the quotes that came out, and then we'll get into the real reason why we're here and to talk about the quarterback position. So one of the things that I believe it was John Lynch who said it. Okay, the 49ers have waived Andy Jones. So the 49ers have waived wide receiver Andy Jones, who was picked up in the middle of the actual Julio Jones saga. He's been released, likely to make room for Anthony Zettel. So that is a transaction that just came across. So another transaction. We got 3 transactions that occurred right before or during the live. So we got Andy Jones, wide receiver, waived. Makes sense. We have a ton of guys at wide receiver to bring in Anthony Zettel, more depth to the D line. So that's 2 DNs. That's 2 defensive ends that have been brought in the last 2 or 3 days. Something to pay attention to. Let's see. And what I was going back to, and this might have something to do with it. what I was actually just about to talk about. So what John Lynch had said, there's no definitive timetable on Bosa, Ford, or Jalen Hurd. So two of those guys that I just mentioned, they're defensive ends. So if they're not potentially going to be coming out this first week, then it makes perfect sense to bring in two guys to fill a role and be able to take reps, because you can't just have an empty hole at those positions. So Bosa and Ford, they might not be ready to go right away. So these two moves, the one that just happened right this second, makes sense. It makes sense. With Jalen Hurd, still sounds like they are not pushing him to rush back to do anything. So, and based on the tone of Kyle Shanahan, the tone that he had in that press conference, kind of talking about what the situation is, he's like, man, we just got to stay healthy and get to week 1. I really think that they're trying to manage this. I hope they're trying to manage this a little bit differently than maybe they have in the past, maybe even as late as OTAs. But it sounds like, for at least from what we're being told, and again, we always take everything we're being told with a grain of salt, but from what we're being told is that they are very concerned and have a concentrated effort on getting to week 1 healthy. And then once you get to week 1 healthy, what Shanahan said is then you get through the first 4 weeks to then really build up a callus. It makes perfect sense. I always call the first 4 weeks of the NFL season the real preseason. The first 4 weeks to me is the real preseason. That's when the real starters are out there. That's when everyone's really trying to gel, really trying to figure everything out. So in those first few weeks, you start to get an idea of what the team is. And then they either take the steps in the right direction and start ascending, or other teams figure them out and they're not able to adjust, and or it's a war of attrition. They get hurt. Things start going downhill. So based on what Kyle was talking about, he's basically like, man, we're just trying to get healthy to week 1. We want to make it to week 1. We want to be healthy. And then once we get to week 1, then we get to week 4. And then we're talking, because like I said, they're hitting, they're tackling, they're doing it all. They're traveling. They're getting used to being back in the flow, back in the routine. Their body is not being shocked by anything. It is what it is. And he said it, quote, callus, build the callus. So that's what I think, I hope. They're trying, again, you can do that a million different ways by scheduling and workload and all that kind of stuff. But it just sounds like they're taking an emphasis on getting healthy to week 1. So guys like Bosa, guys like Ford, guys like Hurd probably aren't going to get rushed back, which I'm okay with. I'm absolutely okay with. And Tarvarius Moore, update from him, or update from John Lynch. John Lynch spoke optimistically. I would say one of the things I noticed about his tone was that it was optimistic when talking about Tarvarius Moore. He even went on to mention other athletes in other sports, talking about their timeline, talking about how long it took for them to get back on the field. He mentioned a 3-month timeline with one player, a 4-month timeline with another in regards to coming back from Achilles injury. So 3 months, 4 months, that's season. We're still in the season. This is a long season, especially now with 17 games, especially if the 49ers make it into the playoffs. Hell, if we can get Tarvarius Moore for any part of this year, we'll take it. We'll absolutely take it. And so, like I said, and he also went on to reference John Lynch, referencing Tarvarius Moore as being one of those special type of athletes. So one of those guys, hey, I've been around it. I've seen it. I've seen one dude I played with. He broke his jaw from here to here, cracked it. Dude cracked his jaw, but he was built differently. He's always built differently. He played D-line. I would come to the line. He'd bark at me. Woo! I'd be like, dude, chill. Chill. But he's different, mentally different, physically different. And he broke his jaw and he healed from his broken jaw in like 6 weeks. Dude, it was just insane timeline. He did it at the beginning of the summer, heading into about to have a huge year. Dude healed, was back played the entire year off a cracked jaw. So people heal differently, and was the point of what I'm trying to get to. And so what John Lynch was saying, he's kind of saying Tarvarius is one of those different kinds of guys. He's built different. So those guys heal different, heal faster. We've seen it. So there may be a little sliver of hope for Tarvarius Moore. Again, we're not going to really count on him yet or anything like that, but he could be coming back. And like I said, the tone in which it was said was optimistic. So I will be optimistic as well. Mike, appreciate the donation, my guy. I really do. He says, with Mosley on the COVID list, if Ambry Thomas doesn't perform well in camp, do they try and sign or trade for a cornerback? I think that with the current depth, I don't think that question and the kind of thought process that comes behind the question is far-fetched. I think we got some talented rookies behind our first line of defense, which is Mosley, K1, and Verrett. But behind that, we got guys like Dante Johnson and some other guys that aren't big names or have been fighting for depth for quite a while, some unproven guys. So absolutely. If Mosley, again, is on the COVID list for quite some time, there could be an opportunity where we get a camp body for a couple days. Who knows? But it all depends on how long he's out. If he's out for a week, probably not. But if he is out and experiences some time being out, then I could definitely see the 49ers looking to add bodies. Again, they just did it right now on the stream, on the live. They added a defensive end because their guys, Bosa and Ford, are going to be pushed and brought on slowly. So therefore, they need guys. They need bodies. It's camp. You need bodies. So that's kind of what it sounds like. And so to Mike's point, do they try to sign or trade? Maybe. What I've taken away from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch is they will turn over every stone, which is what you want from leadership, what you want from someone who's molding and building your team from a personnel standpoint. I could see that happening. That's a good point, Mike. It's a good point. I'm seeing, dude, notifications are just popping. So just got a notification that the Zach Wilson contract, we talked about Zach Wilson and Trey Lance contract maybe being tied. They're saying there's multiple roadblocks in regards to getting Zach Wilson signed, which to me, that tells me they're headed for a holdout. So New York Jets, apparently, looks like they're headed for a holdout with their quarterback. And, I wasn't worried about it, but again, we got 24 hours. In 24 hours, we're going to know if Trey Lance is holding out or not. So we'll find out. With that. Let's see, kind of back to my notes here. On more the lighter news, Bosa FaceTime George walking out of the press room. I think George and Bosa, from George's accounts, they're like super good friends. Like they're damn near besties. So love seeing that. Love seeing them. All right. Okay. So just now, Jeff Wilson, Tarvarius Moore have been placed on the PUP list. Oh my God, dude, there's so much stuff going on right now. I apparently picked the worst time to do a live. We officially signed 2 defensive end, Tarvarius Moore, Jeff Wilson on PUP, Mosley with the reserve COVID list. My goodness. Sheesh. What a day. Kyle talked about looking into Stafford, and so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But this is the first time that Kyle has admitted to going after Deshaun Watson. Again, I had heard that way up front. I was adamant that they were going after him and really trying to make that work. Way back when, before the issues occurred. Obviously, they went in a different direction. But it's the first time he's admitted publicly going after Watson. So again, 2 starting quarterbacks. Kyle Shanahan admits today, the day that training camp starts, that they were looking into 2 starting quarterbacks. I guess that's a perfect transition into the quarterback conversation and the quotes that came out about the quarterback. So if you guys are ready, get a drink, relax. Let me take a sip first too before we get underway, because clearly this is a topic I've been following very closely. So we'll get into it. It was very interesting. So the big news, quote, comment to come out of today's press conferences was regarding a question that Matt Mayoko, I believe, asked, or I know he summarized it, but I believe he asked it. Essentially just asking, all right, well, what? No, Mayoko summarized it. I believe it was Wagner who asked it. So I think Wagner from ESPN asked Shanahan, how do you envision splitting up the reps? How do you envision working through the quarterback competition? And so it's interesting because I didn't see. Hey, you guys do whatever you need to do to get ready. I saw the quotes first. I saw the quotes, the no context quotes, when they pull the quote, goes out in the tweet. Okay, that's what I saw first. I saw all the no context quotes first. And so then I went back and I watched. And that's where you pull your information. You got to watch these guys talk to really understand. You can't just pull a quote. You really can't. You really can't just pull a quote. So as we get into the situation, again, we know, you guys know what he said. So as we get into it, the first thing he said, we're going to treat this like I would. There we go. We're going to treat this like any other situation. So instantly right off the bat, I'm thinking like any other situation. Okay, so for example, there's a lot of conversation about Aaron Banks potentially being the starting right guard. But according to, Cam Inman, when I asked him about what he saw from training camp and the lineups and who was starting where, and because that's where they start to tell you about where they start. The team envisioned these players. Well, Aaron Banks was at right guard, according to Cam Inman, for the majority of OTAs. So to me, that indicates that they are envisioning him having his best chance to start being at right guard, but treating it like any other situation Aaron Banks wasn't just thrust into the starting position. They didn't give him the starting role. He's got to work for it. And so, honestly, right away, that's what I take away. Like, okay, yeah. Why would you do that? Why would you just take Trey Lance and be like, hey, Trey Lance is a starter. Let's go on with our day. No, that's not how it works. I've said it from day one. It's got to be a competition. It's got to be a competition. But what he goes on to say when talking about Jimmy, he's like, Jimmy's our best quarterback in the building right now, so he'll start out training camp that way. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Because Jimmy Garoppolo is a veteran. He's been in this offense for 4 years. He knows the system in and out. He knows the personnel. Of course. Exactly. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. From everything we've seen, Jimmy is the best quarterback on the team because guess what? We haven't seen Trey Lance in real action. And I think a lot of people started taking that quote and just like started like again, this is such a dynamic, a fluid situation that people just want to see something and then just be like, yeah, I was right. And it's like this conversation, this dynamic has so many moving parts that there's no clear-cut way to answer it. And I think people need to start moving through this situation like that. Because what he does say, though, he says Trey Lance will have the first chance to be the backup. Okay, great. Trey Lance has already won a couple jobs. He already beat Nate Sudfeld, right? He already beat Nate Sudfeld, already beat Rosen. Great. Awesome. That makes sense. Again, you don't draft someone number 3 either and start them at number 4 on the depth chart. It's just not how it works. So there's a balance. You have to understand there's a balance. And I want to talk, and I'll just bring my personal experience to this. Probably has nothing to do exactly with what they're going through. But again, I like to try to make what I'm saying and make it make sense by experiences I've lived through. So when I went to go play D2 college, I got my Scully. I went to go play. First day in practice, they lined up all the offensive linemen into groups. And you had the first unit, second unit, third unit. And, I'm coming in. I think I'm hot stuff. I'm like, I'm dope. I'm better than everyone here. Blah, blah, blah. And they put me at the back. They put me in the third unit. And at first, I was steaming. I was like, but again, think about what I'm saying. I was steaming. I was pissed. I was like, how are you going to put me in the third unit? Again, it's all about mentality. It's all about what coaches are trying to manipulate and motivate these players. So again, I get put in the third unit. I'm pissed because I'm looking at the first unit and it's all just the return guys. It's all just the guys who have came back, who were there the year before. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The O-line was straight ass. So I was like, oh, hold on a sec. First unit, not great. Second unit, all Polys. All Samoans and Tongans, all 6'5", all 320 pounds, all massive human beings that know how to move. And then I was the third unit, the non-poly unit. But like I said, the only reason why I'm trying to say this is because that didn't mean anything. It meant literally nothing. For me to be there with that third group, getting all pissed and like upset, like, oh, you guys think I'm trash? Like, again, literally, I think that's part of the mentality. They're trying to figure out, how do you react? How do you handle this situation? How do you handle this when we tell you you're not the starter? Are you going to get pissed and compete, work your ass off? What are you going to do? So I think that's in play. So again, I just wanted to tell that story because guess what? I was starting like 2-3 weeks later. But I just wanted to tell the story because it was very emblematic, in my opinion, of kind of what's going on right now. Again, it's the first day of camp. Nothing he says right now is, and I think that's what I'm trying to get to, is nothing really matters. Like when it in regards to depth chart, position, it doesn't matter. Like I'm about to go on this huge tangent about who's the starting quarterback. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because this is what Kyle went on to say. This is what Kyle went on to say. Anytime a guy playing a lot better than the guy in front of him, or anytime a guy is playing a lot better than the guy in front of him, is when you start to split reps with that team and you start to talk about it. Kyle tells you everything you want to know if you just listen. Just listen. He tells you everything. Anytime a guy is playing a lot better than the guy in front of him is when you start to split the reps with that team, and then you start to talk about it. Again, back to my stupid analogy of me being on the third team on the O-line and me getting all pissed off and huffy and puffy about being on third team. Like, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, because just like I was saying, once I started playing, there wasn't a question. It wasn't a question of who deserved to be where. And that's what I don't want us to get super hypersensitive about this quote. I don't want us to get super sensitive about this subject, because, again, football guys move differently. Football guys move differently. So, again, Kyle told us. And so if I'm John Lynch, I'm Kyle Shanahan, and we're talking about how we're going to manage this into camp, how we're going to split reps, how we're going to do all of this, guess what? I'm saying the same thing that Kyle is, even if in my head, I even want Trey to start. Like, let's say I'm biased and I want Trey to start. I'm still operating this way because it does multiple things. You're not putting pressure on a rookie quarterback. I think that's one of the great things that this organization has done with Trey Lance, is by not putting unwanted pressure on him. Again, everything that they're saying about Jimmy, it just puts pressure on Jimmy at the end of the day. It puts pressure on Jimmy and it motivates Trey. So that's how I'm viewing this. And it helps kind of, again, it keeps the peace. It's packaged nicely. We can take what we want from it and feel good about it, whether it's Jimmy or Trey. But I think really at the end of the day, they're managing snaps, they're managing mentalities, they're managing all different kinds of things. So when you're doing that, you got to think of everything. So, okay, well, Trey Lance is 21 years old. He has all the time in the world to develop. We have zero reason to heap praise on him. We have zero reason to hype him up and put unwanted pressure on him. We have zero reason to say, oh, starter day one. Zero reason. Because we've seen it. We've seen it with the guys like Trubisky's. Trubisky was not ready to start day one, but because they took him at 3 overall, they did. And you see what happens. And you see what happens with the pressure. And all it takes is that start of your career to start on a downward slope, and then some guys become that. So I actually am very happy with how this is being said, how it's being managed, and it fits perfectly into what I think is going to happen. Then the guy in front of him, that's when you start to split reps. And that's when you start to talk about it. So guess what? We haven't been on the field yet. They literally haven't been on the field. So they're going to treat the situation like they would any other. Kyle said that as well. So they're just, it's par for the course, guys. It's par for the course. It's par for the course. It's not, we don't got to get too hyped about it. But we got more information, and we'll keep talking about it because that's what we're here for. So, and again, Kyle goes on to say, Trey has 7 practices with us. We've had 7 practice. Again, you're asking a guy that has 7 practices with Trey Lance, hasn't seen him in 40 days, and you're like, is he the starter? Is he starting day 1? Does he win the competition already? And Kyle's just telling you, he's just par for the course. Par for the course. We've only had Trey 7 days in practice. Haven't seen him for 40 since then. So, and then quote, not thinking about that right now. Jimmy's going in as our starter. Yes. Okay. That makes sense. That's how it should be. Even if you are a Trey Lance truther to the death of you, you think he's starting week 1, all of that. This is still the proper way to manage this situation. Still the proper way to manage the situation. Because again, they are taking the pressure off of Trey and they're putting it on themselves. So what Kyle is actually kind of doing, he's kind of putting that pressure and diverting it off Trey and putting it on him and John. And guess what? They just signed 6-year contract extensions. They're not going anywhere. They are the most secure people on this planet. So put the pressure on those guys. Take it off of Trey. Take it off the 21-year-old who hasn't played football since he was 19. Take it off of him and put it on the guys that have been here and have done it. So that's what I feel like they're doing. And so after Kyle says all of that, this is where the quote comes from. Mayoko basically hops in and says, to summarize literally all those quotes that I just read and kind of broke apart, Mayoko comes in to say, well, so what you're saying is there's no quarterback competition. There's none. It's Jimmy Garoppolo's starting, and what Kyle says is, yeah, there's no open competition, meaning they aren't splitting reps. He already told us that. He already told us why. So again, it was like some big revelation to some of Twitter, I guess. But if you want to understand, it's right there. It's right in front of us. Like, they're managing this as they should. If, like I said, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm John Lynch, even if we wanted Trey Lance to start and win, this is how you manage it. Oh, the Tiger King himself. We see you, Trent. I hope since he's treating you right, boy. I hope they are. They better take care of you, boy. Come on. But essentially, like I said, Kyle already explicitly talked about this. Already talked about how they're handling it, why they're handling it. Oh, December. That's right. Let's go, Trent. Bro, Trent working with Burrow. Okay, you got that Joe Burrow action. We see you, boy. We see Trent. And if you are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Trent Taylor stopped by to say hi. We love Trent. Always showing TT some love. That boy's a dog. So we wish Trent nothing but the best. Again, he's got that boy Burrow. Woo! Spicy. I like Burrow a lot. I do. I really do. But Squirrel, trying to get back on track. Squirrel. I found it. We're back. We're back. Squirrel. Thanks for the squirrel, Trent. We're back. I think John Lynch was talking about this in another part of the conversation. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Because again, what all of us fans, what I'm spending, I've already spent 40 minutes on it. What we're talking about on Twitter, what you guys are DMing, what you're commenting, all of these things. John Lynch said this later on, and I really liked it a lot, especially regarding all these things that they're saying. What John Lynch said is everyone in that locker room watches who we're paying. Not our words, but our actions. So again, we've spent better part of 40 minutes. We've spent a better part of 40 minutes talking about words that John Lynch in this same press conference went on to say, everyone in that locker room watches who we're paying. Not our words, but our actions. So again, we got a lot of words today, and a lot of people are getting upset about a lot of the words because they're not truly understanding how to funnel the words through their minds. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to be that public service to just help shepherd the information your way. So again, the big quote was the comment about starting quarterback. Jimmy's the starting quarterback. But if you listen to the whole conversation, you listen to the way they talk about things that aren't even related to the quarterback position, but relate exactly to what they're saying about the quarterback position. And then this is what Kyle went on to say. And I believe Kyle about this because it matches the philosophy of, I think, pretty much a lot of coaches in this situation. When you have a veteran and rookie, you're going to put the veteran out first. Look at what Chicago is doing. Why do you think they're building up Andy Dalton? Why do you think they're building up Andy Dalton in Chicago? It's to take pressure off of the rookie quarterback. QB1, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is not QB1. Justin Fields is QB1. But there's a reason. There's a reason we do these things. And so what Kyle was talking about later on, not related, he was talking about the conversation that he had with Jimmy. And what he said was, there's no rookie who's going to come in here and take your job right away if you're playing at the top of your game. That's what Kyle Shanahan said to Jimmy Garoppolo after the trade. There's no rookie who's going to come in here and take your job right away. Perfect. Sounds like exactly what we're talking about with these quotes. So he told Jimmy that back when the trade happened, and that is exactly what he's doing. And it's exactly how it should be. Again, we need to alleviate the pressure off of Trey, allow Trey to learn at his own pace, pick up the playbook at his own pace. Hey, if it happens sooner rather than later, then we might start seeing snaps split. Then we might start seeing things happen. But again, they've only had Trey Lance for 7 days in OTAs and hadn't seen him in 40. So, of course, Jimmy's going to be starting day one. Of course, we're going to come out and say Jimmy Garoppolo's the starter. Of course. It makes perfect sense. And then if you listen to the QB1 episode, what I thought was, again, interesting was Kyle got into a little bit about what he was talking about on the podcast with McVay. He got a little bit into the podcast about what he was talking about with Schrager. And he was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo's performance in OTAs, the way he was moving, the body language. Again, we noticed it. We said right away. We said, Jimmy looks different. the vibe he carries, the way he's walking, the way Jimmy. You know how they do the walk out to the practice field videos, and they'll have like the guys say something to the camera, one of the social guys or gals, and Jimmy comes out and he's like screaming at the camera. George is kind of like in the background, like, okay, Jimmy. And so that's the point, is you could visibly see that. Kyle Shanahan talked about that. And let me pull it up since it's right next to me. But when we go back to that podcast that he went on, when he did his whole what he looks for in a quarterback when he's evaluating what they need to have, traits, intangibles, measurables, all of it, and he went down the whole thing. But you know what the most important thing was? The most important thing to Kyle Shanahan when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks is playing in the zone with a clear mind, low blood pressure, low heart rate, to be able to play the right way. That's essentially how he described Jimmy Garoppolo in OTAs. He even said he was very clear. He was very sharp. So I think what we're seeing is competition at its finest. I think the way Kyle Shanahan is operating, the way the messages he is expressing to the media, to the outside, it makes perfect sense. And there's multiple reasons. For it. So that's the biggest thing, is like what he said today has literally, in my opinion, doesn't have an impact on what we've seen for week one. It doesn't have an impact, in my opinion. All it has is an impact is how they're structuring everything to begin, which again is, I agree with it. I would be a little more worried if they came out, Kyle Shanahan said, you know what, guys, we're actually going to be running Trey Lance out with the ones. Jimmy's going to be at 2. We're going to split reps, or, we're going to split reps between the ones right away. Then what are we talking about? What are we talking about if he said that? If he says they're splitting reps, if he says Trey Lance is competing, this, that, and the other thing, Twitter implodes today. So these guys are smart. John Lynch was in the media. These guys know what they're doing. They have every angle figured out. And so I think with how they're managing the quarterback position, how they're managing this competition, again, the notion that this isn't a competition goes against everything that football stands for. So I don't believe that I don't believe 1 second of that. I don't believe it. Football players, football coaches, football guys understand competition is everything. So, but do the fans need to know that? Does the media need to know that? Do they? Does that benefit Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, Trey Lance at all? No, it does not. It does not. So they're handling this situation great. They said exactly what they needed to say. They structured it exactly like they needed to structure it. And we're going into camp with no controversy other than, hey, when's Trey Lance going to sign? So, great, good. We already know, they told us, anytime a guy is playing a lot better than the guy in front of him is when we start to split reps. Okay, Trey Lance has been in camp for 7 days at OTAs with no pads. Can we determine that he played better than Jimmy? Well, no, we can't, because we haven't seen it. So again, treat it like any other situation. He told you. We're going to treat it like any other situation. Trey's already got the first chance to be the backup. We know that. Great. But he said it. Anytime a guy starts playing a lot better than the guy in front of him, that's when you start to split reps. I've been in situations like that. I've been on both sides of it. I've been the guy nipping at the heels. I've been the guy getting my heels nipped at. I know what it's like being in that situation. So right now, like I said, back to my story, my experience, first day of camp for football. They trot out the first unit, second unit, third unit. They got me in the third unit, and I'm pissed. Like, but that's like in my head. I'm like, and I'm tying it together now because it meant nothing back then, but I didn't know better. So I thought they were being disrespectful to me. And that's how I took it. And that's how I played. So, but looking at it now, I knew the point is, taking a step back, is that was literally nothing. It was just paper. It was nothing. First day of practice, you've got to trot out something. You've got to have a structure. You've got to have something, an alignment and units. And guess what? Their alignment, unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, had nothing to do with the actual starting lineup. Because guess what? Once we got on the field, that was gone. That was gone. We knew instantly who was going to be playing. So that's what I think is going to happen. They're not going to put Trey in a position to have to carry the burden of being the starting quarterback right away, especially when you have a veteran. So everything that I see, love it. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's perfect. And there's other aspects to this. There's other things to gain from, again, trotting Jimmy out as the starter. Again, it appears that the 49ers are happy with Jimmy Garoppolo. They like where he's at. Kyle Shanahan has liked the way he's responded in camp, specifically OTAs. But you never know. And when I'm saying you never know, I think you know what I'm talking about. I just experienced like the last 4, 5, 6 months trying to watch this team. Essentially, it felt like they're trying to trade Jimmy. They said a lot of this same stuff back then when they were looking for Stafford, looking for Deshaun, looking into Darnold, looking into Teddy Bridgewater, looking into Trubisky, looking into Andy Dalton, looking into. They still said the same stuff. So again, I'm going to go back to what John Lynch said. Everyone in that locker room watches who we're paying. They're not watching our words. They're watching our actions. And I do the same. They said a lot of great stuff, but I have the actions to go off, which then form my opinion. So that's really how I view it. I still view this as an open competition. To me, nothing that was said today would indicate it's not a competition. To me, what Kyle Shanahan, he prefaced what he was saying, treating it like any other situation. Again, I brought up the Banks situation. I think they want Banks to start. That's why you draft the offensive lineman in the second round. You can find starting offensive linemen in the third round. But they took a guy in Aaron Banks. But guess what? They probably want him to start. They probably want to see that investment take hold, but they didn't trot him out in OTAs and start him at right guard over Brunskill. They didn't. He's behind Brunskill. And that's how it's going to work because he's going to have to earn that spot. I mean, that's at least in all the football I played for over 15 years. Like, you win spots. I don't like political football. I don't like politics when it comes to starting lineups. Who gets these reps over those reps? I don't like that. So what I do like, though, is straight up, down and dirty, good old-fashioned competition. And you never give guys jobs because then you can create a sense of entitlement. You can create, if you're giving that guy a job, well, what does that guy feel like who just got his job just given away? Like, and again, this is mostly for rookies. This is mostly for rookies. I want to be clear with that. Rookies, I feel like, it's such a nuanced question, to be honest, because high rookies do sometimes come in and get the job. But at the same time, I still like the process of having them start with the second unit, third unit, and earn each step. Because like I said, and I can only relate to my own experiences. When I was in the third unit, in that first day camp, it pissed me off. It made me pay attention to every time I jumped a unit. It made me grind harder, even though it really meant nothing. It really meant nothing, but at the time I didn't know better. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating here. But guess what? Yeah, I need transitions. I need music. I need all that good stuff. Someone help me produce this bad boy. But essentially, what we're up against, what we're looking at, what we're heading into tomorrow is we get some guys on the field. Now we get some of the boys on the field. We're going to get some video, hopefully. I don't know. The 49ers every year that Kyle Shanahan has been here is taking away more and more and more from media in regards to what they can capture with video at practice. Last time, didn't hear a ton. Or last year, I believe they make the reporters cut video off after individuals. I don't think they let them do one-on-ones anymore. So again, I don't know what we're going to see. I don't know what we're going to see. This is the unfortunate period of time where we become slaves. I try not to say that in a bad way, but like we can only take the information that is given to us. We're not there. We're not watching. I have to trust other people's eyes, which I hate doing. It's just not how I scout. I'm not big into that. It's really hard for me to take someone else's opinion of a player and assume it as my own, because I can't tell you how many times I've heard an opinion of a player, put my eyes on them, and I'm like, I don't know how you saw that. So that's the unfortunate part of camp that we're in, is we are kind of prisoner to what is given to us. We just gotta take whatever we got and kind of put it together, see if it sticks. So it'll be a really interesting camp period. I'm excited to get back to camp. I'll be at camp on the first Wednesday that they allow people in. So I'll finally be back. Again, I don't think we're going to be able to capture any video, which not the best. But I'll at least be able to get my eyes on these guys. So that's what I'm excited about. So next Wednesday, we'll be on site. We'll be able to get our first opportunity at the first look at the 2021 team, and we'll see what we got. We'll see what we got. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Oh, so I think Salazar, I think I might have confused a lot of people. I think I might have confused a lot of people trying to be a troll. I'll clear that up. So I saw all the beat reporters showing up to camp, and they're, posting their photos of them walking into the practice and doing all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to lie, like, that's my biggest goal for everything that I'm doing. I want to be credentialed. I want to be able to get this access. I don't like talking secondhand off of other people's information. Quotes and, press conferences are a little bit different. But, when it comes to actually watching football, I want to watch the football. So I'm not going to lie. Very jealous of all the beat reporters. And I don't want to make it seem like they don't do a great job. Beat reporters that we have, the Mayokos, the Emmons, the Lombardis, all those guys, I know I'm forgetting a bunch, but they do a great job. And they do an excellent job at what they do. It's just like, but I view football a little bit differently. And so that's how I want to cover football. And I want to be able to do that kind of stuff. So when they were posting all their videos of, oh, we're here at camp, I basically was like, oh, I'm going to open up a Google Doc and be like, oh, here's my media, here's my media entrance. It's a Google Doc. It's my computer. You know what I mean? Like, so it was supposed to be a troll. It was supposed to be a troll. Like, I'm not there. Like, my media entrance is a Google Doc at my computer where I do all my stuff. So I was trying to troll. It didn't come off. So I was getting congratulated by people. I was like, my bad. I really didn't get in. Trust me, if I'm getting in, it's going to be a huge deal. Like, the account is going to go on like a week-long celebration. There's going to be celebratory posts. Like, if this account ever gets credentialed, we're going all out. But like I said, I applied this year. This is the first year I applied. I haven't got a response. I halfway assume I'd get a response by now, considering camp started today. I assume, and again, I know it's a long shot. I know I'm not recognized yet. I know we're a fan page. So until then, probably not getting in this year. Probably not. But guess what? That doesn't change anything. We still cover the team the same. We covered this team in the midst of a pandemic. So we know how to work around this. It's the goal. It's the mountaintop. We want to get credentialed because, again, we want to be able to I want to take this and the way I view information and share it with you, because I think I bring a different perspective. That's it. But I get it. I got to put in the time, got to put in the work, got to do it, got to grind it. It's fine. But like I said, bringing it back to the third string story, you put me in third string. You put me back there with the third unit. You're going to piss me off. So, I'm not going to lie. I'm actually kind of happy that I'm not getting credentialed, because I think it's going to piss me off. And I think I'm going to work a lot harder. And I already work pretty hard doing what I do. If you guys don't know, I'll tell you right now, this is my thing. I've decided that I see a path forward for the brand, for the concept, the model, everything we're doing, to be able to scale, to be able to do all different kinds of things. I'm onto something. And so the credential would be great. It would be great. But I don't need it. I don't. And that's the mentality I'm taking. So I'm sitting back in that third unit right now. I'm pissed. You're not going to let me into Levi's? Then get ready, because you thought you seen me cover this team before. You ain't seen nothing. So that's just my little thing. I appreciate you, Salazar, for congratulating me for getting in. I didn't get in. I was trolling. Because I'm pissed, Bree. I'm pissed. I am. I'm not afraid to say it. Guess what? Jimmy's pissed. Jimmy's pissed too. He better be. And guess what? That's how we all should be. If we all take pride in something, if we all believe in what we're doing and believe that we have something, and guess what? Not everyone's going to see it. Not everyone's going to recognize it. Not everyone is going to understand it is what it is. That's fine. Take your time. Take your time, because we will show you. And I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm really not trying to be cocky. But I'm confident. I'm confident in what is being built here. And if it takes me 2 years to get in, 3 years to get in, it's fine. It's fine. Already been credentialed to the Senior Bowl. I'll most likely be credentialed for the draft, for the Senior Bowl again, for the East-West Shrine game, for the Combine. And if it takes some time with the 49ers, that's fine. That's fine. I got all the time in the world. So, yeah, I'm pissed. I'm pissed that I'm probably not going to get credentialed. And I think that's better for me. So, that's not going to change. Saw our boy Brad on the Bleacher Report app. I'm on Bleacher Report. Brad from the Malibu. B-Rad G. So, enough about me. This is about the team. It's about providing information, providing insight, providing perspective. That's it. Oh, they put my interview with Ward on Bleacher Report? You're lying. You are lying to me, Hulk. Hulk said, saw our boy Brad on Bleacher Report app. My interview with Ward. They put me on there? No. No, they didn't. I gotta look right now. I gotta look. They didn't put me on there. They didn't. I'm looking right now. I gotta see if it's on here. So word on the streets is I'm apparently on Bleacher Report right now. I don't know. I'm on the desktop, and to be honest, I haven't been on Bleacher Report desktop in a lot longer than I realized. Pierre, my guy. Well, Bleacher Report used to have my tweets in their social feed, and then when my account got clapped for music, I didn't make it back in. Bummed about that as well. Where? I don't see it. Am I tripping? Oh, they did. Let's go. Let's go. W. They got me on there. Let's go. Shout out my homies. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I just found it. Hell yes. Let's go. Those are my guys. And those aren't even my social media guys. Like, so I found out, I didn't know. Bleacher Report has a social team and they have an apps team. So anything that shows up on the app has nothing to do with the social team. So I had both teams show me love at the same time. And again, just a real quick to talk about me, since I guess we were talking about my my credential applications. I got started doing all of this, how I'm talking to you, commenting on Bleacher Report articles. I didn't know I had this opinion about football, the 49ers, the draft. Had no idea how to share it with anyone. So I started commenting on Bleacher Report articles. And that was 10 years ago. And sure enough, here I am now. They're sharing my stuff. So that's legit. That's cool. Shout out Bleacher Report. Joe Shasky gave me a shout out on 95.7 The Game today. Dude, I love Joe, man. I love Joe. Shout out Joe. Me and him had a great conversation on Friday. Great conversation. I'm not going to talk about what we talked about, but we had a great conversation. Again, 95.7. the day that station started, I was listening and listened to every day since then. Every day since then. And last Friday, chatting on the phone with Joe Shasky, host of the morning show. And I loved everything he had to say. And I think we're going to have some cool stuff going. So that's cool. All right. Maybe we end it there. We'll end it on the positive note. Shout out everyone who's let me know that Bleacher Report threw my stuff up on their page. That's cool. That's actually the first time my personal Twitter has ever made it onto Bleacher Report. So that's pretty damn cool. So that's awesome. But like I said, and again, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but like, we don't need a credential to do what we're doing. We don't need a credential to change the way that sports is ingested and covered. We don't need that. It would help. It wouldn't help. It would just, the insight that I would be able to give you. See, I don't think they realize what happens if they ever let me into that building. I'm coming in there with 20 cameras. I'm doing all kinds of stuff if they ever let me in there. But like I said, thanks, Matt. Appreciate you. We don't need it. We don't need the credential. The credential is, however, at the top of the mountain, and we'll keep climbing. Again, we'll just stay motivated to keep grinding, keep going. And again, this is a labor of love. So, okay, you don't credential me, fine. I'm still doing what I'm doing. So, again, shout out all you guys. I appreciate the positivity. I appreciate your guys' comments and the way you guys juice me up and you guys hyping up all of it. You guys are becoming a big part of me. I'll be honest with you. I got social anxiety. I got all that kind of stuff. So like me speaking to you on camera never was really something I'd anticipated. So just I'm thankful for you guys and how you guys have been receptive to me. And I'm excited to see what we build because really, honestly, if we really want to look at this, we just started this back in January with a new path. It went from a passion to being business back in January. And if you've kind of seen the progression, I think you kind of see where we're headed. And we're only going to keep going. So again, shout out all you guys for always holding me down. Talking a little shit when you need to. I feel it. I'm fine with it. But I appreciate all you guys. I appreciate everything more than you guys know. and let's get after it. I will not be at camp tomorrow. I'm not credentialed media. I will be at camp on Wednesday. I will be camp on Wednesday, and which is not this Wednesday, tomorrow. The following Wednesday, when they're allowing fans in, so I'll be there then. Again, no video from us, so we'll try our best to work through that. I'll be taking notes. I'll be watching. I'm probably going to bring the binoculars. I'm going to be in scout mode. So if you see me with the binoculars and the scout and the pad, that's what I'm doing. Feel free to say hi, say what's up. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching our boys. I'm going to be taking notes. I'm going to be taking notes on depth chart and try and get an idea. Because some guys that I went to camps in previous years, some guys that have stood out to me, Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson stood out to me wearing number 49, and he fumbled twice. He fumbled twice in that practice. But there was something about Jeff Wilson, the way he ran, the way he was moving, all of it. And I said to myself that day, I was like, man, if that guy can figure it out, if he can put it together, that dude looks like a player. And that was when he was a rookie. And fast forward, he was going to have a pretty big role this year. But he did not. So super excited to get to camp. Good question, Sean. Who am I most looking forward to seeing? I'm most forward to really seeing the offense. It's the offensive line. Shocker. I really want to watch the offensive line. The biggest thing, though, with the offensive line is if I'm not close to one-on-ones, if I'm not close to team period, it becomes very difficult to scout the offensive line groups, especially from certain angles. So although I go in with every intention to really watch the O-line, it always ends up being wide receiver. It always ends up being wide receiver and running back. It ends up being the skill positions because they stand out more in individual type situations. Ho ho ho. So you know the vibes. So I'm watching the O-line. I want to see where Aaron Banks is lining up. I want to see where they got Taylor lining up. I want to see Michael Pruitt. So Michael Pruitt is a tight end that we have on this team. Hasn't really been talked about too much since we signed him, but he's getting a decent amount of money. He's someone that I kind of want to see what they have for him, because the 49ers have Charlie Warner, Ross Dwelly, of course, behind George Kittle. So I want to see what Michael Pruitt brings to the table. In regards to the defensive line group, really want to see Samson. Really want to see our boy Sosa. So super excited to see what Sosa looks like. The relentlessness and motor is something Mike McGlinchey talked about when I had him on. So he's someone I want to see that. I want to see that in real life. Of course, River, the boy. Is the rumor of Hurd playing tight end true? I saw the quote and it was just like it was a Kyle answer. It was like, yeah, why not? It was just like, why not? Like, yeah, if he can play center for us, then he would play center for us. It was, again, just one of those quotes that if you look at a little too long, might mean a little bit more than it should. So taking that one with a grain of salt. Yes, Elijah Mitchell will look good at the running back. Again, he's someone I got to watch at the Senior Bowl, got to watch in person at the Senior Bowl. I've already told the story about watching, like,
I had a private photo shoot with Elijah Mitchell, essentially after practice one day. Super excited to see him, but again, he was a standout at the Senior Bowl. I want to see Trey Sermon. I want to see all the rookies. I want to see Hufanga, Ambry, Diamador. Of course, I want to see all the rookies. Trying to give a better answer, like maybe Debo. Like Debo, I think I might have to do a dedicated. Still might have to do a dedicated episode on Debo, just based on the narrative, thought process, and everything surrounding him. He has an interesting narrative surrounding him heading into the season that I feel like he feels. I don't know, but I feel like he kind of senses it. I feel like Bleacher Report put out a post from one of their writers saying make or break years. And one of the guys that they put out was Deebo Samuel being a make or break year into year 3. And first of all, when the rule for wide receivers is you really don't know what a wide receiver is until they're in their 3rd year, until they've gotten to their 3rd year and developed and doing all that kind of stuff. So, okay, well, Deebo's going into his 3rd year. We saw what he was at the end of the 2019 season. Unfortunately, was injured for a lot of the 2020 season. But when he played great, especially against the Rams. But that's how quickly things change. That's how quickly narratives change. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he responds this year, because he's already got a lot of hype. He got a lot of hype. He got a lot of hype after his rookie year, and then it seemingly has crashed. It feels like Ayuk has jumped him in regards to public perception, and now all of a sudden it's a make or break year for Debo. All right, let's find out. So I just kind of want to see how he responds. And of course, there's going to be a lot of other guys. I'll answer maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Hour 20 in. I know you guys don't like listening to me talk that much. Yeah, Sean, I agree. I think that's exactly what Mitchell is. When they drafted him, I was like, they drafted Raheem Mostert 2.0. Again, same breakaway speed, same one cut and go running style at the line of scrimmage. They have the same type of patience at the line of scrimmage. They both move much faster than it looks like they're moving. So, yeah. I think so. Again, part of the reason why I was scared that Mostert might get traded in the Julio trade. I don't know. I just get the sense that someone could still be on the move. I don't have any information. I just get the sense. Someone could be on the move. I don't know. I just get the sense someone could get traded. Probably from the offensive side. But we'll see. What's up, Chris? So, yeah, I think the biggest thing, again, day one. It's day one. Technically didn't even get on the field, really. Got a lot of news. Got a lot of updates. We got a lot of stuff. Got a lot of stuff. So, again, It's very easy to get upset. Hold on a second. It's very easy. What's up, Jeremy? It's easy to like take these quotes and twist them and run with them and that kind of stuff. But I think we look at the full context of everything. It makes sense. We understand it. It's how it should be. I'm also someone who I'm kind of leaning towards, Trey might win this job. Trey might come out and win this job. Even though I'm still leaning in that camp, this to me feels par for the course. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how everything goes. Again, no footage from today, no real actual practice, just a lot of talking. We got to see Kyle and John. We got to hear from them. And yeah. And I guess, literally like 4 things happened while I was on this live. Mosley reserve COVID list, signed Zettel, waived Andy Jones, and I think we officially signed that DN that was announced yesterday. So we'll see. So I'm going to call it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. So would like to get some stuff out of camp tomorrow. Again, they should be on the field. Like Kyle Shanahan talked about, it really sounds like a ramp up. Sounds like they're really trying to stay healthy to get to the season. So hopefully they're dialing it back a little bit. What that means, who knows? I don't know if it's padded or not, if they're in shells or not. So we'll see. I imagine it's probably going to be a walkthrough type practice with no pads. But again, we'll see. So we should have players on the field tomorrow. Why that's important is if Trey Lance is not signed by that practice, then we have an official holdout. So like I said, I don't anticipate it being an issue. Kyle and John spoke to that a little bit today. John is hopeful. He mentioned they've never had a holdout. But I think the fact that he mentioned them never having a holdout kind of is like preparation of like, hey, we've never had a holdout, but we might have a holdout now. So that could be coming. So we'll see. We'll see. Tomorrow's going to be another exciting day in the 49ers world. And guess what? We'll be here to talk about it all. I appreciate all you guys, as always, for joining. Again, you guys are on YouTube, Facebook, all of it. Please like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. We're out. We'll be back tomorrow. Guys are on the field. Should be on the field. And we'll do it again. Shout out all you guys for stopping by. I appreciate you all.